Due to the ignorance of our host, parental discretion is advised.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by From Scratch.
Justin, when was the last time you made a fresh meal from scratch? I'm talking about ketchup, aioli, sourdough bread, pastas, brioche buns, ricotta cheese, butter. This restaurant's main focus is to make everything from scratch.
That's right. From Scratch is a 2-time award winner for the best burger and pizza of the state of Utah. They also have beef stroganoff, roasted beet salad, braised brisket, grilled salmon, and more. Heard enough about the food? How about the alcohol? How about the Scratch margarita and the Scratch seasonal beer? Everything from scratch.
Located at 62 East Gallivan Avenue in downtown Salt Lake, open 6 days a week, Monday through Thursday from 11 to 9, Friday from 11 to 10, Saturdays from 12 to 10.
For takeout and reservations, call 801-961-9000. That's 801-961-9000. Online orders at www.fromscratchslc.com. For more private events, email hlevino@netwasatch.com.
And remember, if you want fresh made meals, no one's better than
From Scratch.
Welcome back to the other side of the Beehive. It's your weekly boys. We're here with a guest that we have had before. I didn't know this was gonna happen. Well, we didn't know this was gonna happen.
It's always a surprise, huh?
Eric Iman and his fiance, they look like war veterans right now because of the. So let's just start right there. What happened?
We were going to, so we had the whole weekend mapped out. We were
Yeah.
going to go to Park City. We're going to ride to Park City on the bike. We're going to go to Park City. We're going to hang out in Park City today, and then we're going to come back down and meet you guys.
Okay.
And then, finish out the weekend. So you ever have those days where you're like,
The universe.
why is everything just not lining up? You know what I mean?
Hey, there's another person to blame it on the universe.
So I'm not blaming it on, who's the dumbass is me, because I should have fucking listened. So our little boy wrecks his dirt bike,
Yeah.
and she has to take him to the hospital because he's got road rash and it's swollen and shit. Yesterday, this happened yesterday.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. We're supposed to leave at 5.
No, we're supposed to leave at 3.
I was leaving work at 3.
Anyways.
Which I had to anyway, because
You
there
win.
was
Okay, keep going.
5 kids in our house and she has to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So I run home. Her mom comes, gets the kids. We're throwing shit in the bike. We're in a hurry because we're late. And
Motherfucker.
yeah, so we finally get everything rounded up. We get on the bike, or we're going out to the bike. A bee stings me in the forehead. Right.
So then I'm like, well, I can't give you Benadryl because you're going to be on the bike.
Yeah.
So here's some apple cider vinegar. I'm like the hippie, whatever.
What did apple cider vinegar?
Yeah, it like pulls the
Hippies
venom
think
out.
that shit fixes everything.
That's what that shit tastes like, by the way.
I mean, that means it fixes everything. I'm
Do you
golden.
drink it or do you just like put it on it?
Both.
So you just put it
Oh,
on. I mean,
okay.
I
Bathe in
drink
it.
it.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Wash your hair.
I hear
Any kind
people
of thing.
take shots
That's why
of
it
it in
fell
the
off.
morning. Shit, yeah.
It's supposed to be good for insulin resistance, but
Okay. Carry on.
but they rub it on everything. It's like patchouli for
Yeah.
hippies.
So I forgot to shave my leg. Get some of that apple cider vinegar out there. Oh, I caught a bullet. Get some of that apple cider vinegar.
I'm surprised she didn't rub some on me this morning.
Hey, Dad, I got syphilis.
Let me see your dingling, boy.
Honey, give me that.
Maybe for syphilis, you have to inject it.
Oh.
I mean, syphilis is a different level.
So the bee sting.
Yeah, so the bee sting. So we jump on the bike, go down, get gas. As we're going down, this dude goes through the roundabout. He's not paying attention. He's staring at his phone. And I'm yelling at him and shit. Anyway, so we continue on. We get gas. I have my 9mm in my vest.
As
Yeah.
you should.
But I forgot my
Your magazine.
card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, forgot
okay.
his card, which, by the way, came in the mail, and that was the only thing that came in the mail. And so I texted him, and I was like, well, the mail's on your side today. And going off subject for a second. We were sitting at the dinner table one night because all three of us, Kane, Eric, and I, all did the concealed class together.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what's going to be funny? Is if the felon fucking gets his concealed before both of you.
Yeah.
And guess what happened?
Ding ding.
Because me and Kane forgot to fill out the zip code for our
Fucking
billing
winning.
address. So our shit got
Winning.
sent back and he got it. But
So
anyways.
we go back, get it. Then we're going back again, and there is a cement truck coming through the same roundabout going Mach 10. And I didn't think it was going to stop. Go up, continue on, get onto SR 193, take a right. We're going down. You know, I'm not hauling ass or anything. I'm just cruising along. I'm behind this Mustang, and he's like swerving. Like he's staying in his lane, but he's not tracking straight.
Yeah.
And the brake lights keep flashing and shit. And I'm like, I better get around him. So I move over, start going around him. The light turns yellow. I hit the brakes, and I guess I can't say for sure, but I thought he was coming into my lane. So I locked the back brake up, and it seemed like we were going to ride it out. And then the back of the bike swung around, and we went down. So we went down. I woke up in, I don't know, somewhere. And I had my arm around her, and she's laying on top of me. And we slid to a stop, and she jumps up.
I was like, you're good. Get up. Get up. We're good. Like, I was dead set. Like, we're fine.
Fuck, she jumps up, walk it off.
Like your ears on the pavement, but we're good.
Walk it off.
Is this one yours or mine?
I got blood running down my head, and road rash, and her road rash, and she's like, "Get up, you gotta get up." So we got up and we went to the hospital, and
The bike's still drivable?
Totaled.
It's totally
it's probably totaled. I think the forks are bent back.
When the tow truck showed up, they couldn't even straighten it out to pull it up the
leather vest or leather jackets?
Vest.
Just vest?
vest. No helmet.
No helmets?
Nope.
Motherfuckers. I'm going to tell you guys
I
something
know.
right here.
Wait, are you guys not down with helmets?
We are now.
No, but prior.
It's like a mask. Wear it or don't. It's your
No,
fucking
no,
opinion.
I get, no, and I get it. Like my.
But I can tell you, I'll be wearing one from here on out because
So
I got a line of staples in my head.
and so the reason why I guess I've never really thought of helmets. I was like, oh, one time we were going on a long ride, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll throw a helmet on because we have somebody's friends or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll throw that on. I was like, I heard a UHP one time say that like those half helmets. He's like, you got to do a full face or don't do it at all because those half helmets,
Yeah.
all it is a bucket for your brains.
Yeah.
Because
Your face can still look like shit. Yeah.
well, and it'll still kill you.
Look how pretty I am still.
Yeah, but look,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I was going to say. Even if you had a half helmet or just
Yeah, I wouldn't have got
one
a
of them-
line of staples in the top
one
of
of
my
them
head.
girly ones like he wears, just where it's the top.
Yeah. I mean, anything's better than nothing, but
Yeah.
before I was like, is
I'm
it
going to
really?
get her a racing neck brace and a modular helmet and a full racing suit because I could be fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay if I can deal with all this.
Yeah.
It's bad. Don't get me wrong. She spent an hour cleaning wounds today and it was pretty bad.
And I haven't even gotten to his head yet.
But so I mean, I could live with me being mangled. You know, it's okay, but I can't handle her being.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
you know what? There was, and I am that person, but there was a bubble around us when we hit.
Yeah.
Like there was for sure some like, because for us to both get up and walk away, and when I stood up, my vest doesn't have anything on it. My pants aren't torn. My boots have like scuffs
She
on
pretty
them.
much. I held on to her, and it turns out she used me as a sled.
Oh, yeah.
Saddle up.
Is that the first time you've gone down on a
Yeah,
bike?
I've never been down on a bike.
I've gone down on a bike
wrecked
before.
a dirt bike, but
Yeah.
not
Never
like
on the street.
Slid 40 feet on the pavement or anything.
I was in a group of, there was probably about,
Hell's Angels, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, the
Going way
Mongols.
back.
Mongols.
You
Oh,
throw your weight. Throw it way
We're
back.
in Utah.
So I was in a
By the way, we're gonna get killed this week. But anyway, go ahead.
I was in a group of probably 12 or 13 guys. And I was the last bike back. And back in the day when we rode the Boulevard, we all did that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the guy in front of me decided he wanted to do a stoppie for the girls next to him. didn't think about the guy who was behind him and right in front of me. So I saw the front of the tire, his rear tire up in the ground. So there was the car next to me and there was the bike next to me. So I had no choice but to lock up the front brakes and lay it down. And I rolled right out into traffic at that point. It was fucking scary.
Did you get hit when you're in traffic?
And thank God I didn't get hit. The car stopped as they see me
No
go
helmet?
down. So
Thank God.
no helmet.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm
Yep.
going to tell you something.
Yep.
Okay.
But after that, I always wore a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That same thing. I had a big old fucking cut down the side of my head, and I thought, you got lucky this time there, bud.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yep. I won't
I think
risk that chance.
Around town, you're going to the store or whatever.
We were not even
Yeah,
a mile from our house.
We were 2 miles from our house.
And see, and what are the, like sometimes because I think about it because I do have, like I said, I have one that it plays to be a helmet, but it's not. It actually looks like a baseball cap.
I've
It's got
seen
the
those,
thing.
yeah.
And it's not a deal. I mean, it's plastic.
It's not a
would
deal.
probably
It's
do
not
more
a DOT.
damage.
It's
It
not.
would
It's
probably
not.
do
It's not
more
a helmet.
damage.
Yeah. And so, but we were actually, the wife and I were actually at Harley today, and I'm looking at the ones that are like, they just have the face open, and
Do it.
but sometimes I think, here I am worrying about a helmet. What about those guys that ride in flip flops and shorts?
We saw
On our way
5
down
of them
here.
here. We saw a chick on the freeway, shorts.
She's in shorts. And
She did have a helmet on.
a tank top and a helmet. And I'm like, guess what?
Yeah.
This road rash, have never felt pain
Really?
ever. Like, I would rather go through labor pains over again.
On the good news, or on the good note, is they gave me ketamine.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
How much for that?
Some special K, huh?
So I feel like every doctor that ever stitched my face back together gypped me.
Fuck, right?
I feel like they gypped me.
Can I get that doctor's name? Right?
Well, and she told me, she's like, I can give you some more fentanyl or I can give you ketamine. I can tell you, I'd take the ketamine. And I was like, I'm with you.
But
I
at
don't
the
know what
same
it
time-
does.
You're all Michael Jackson
But I'm
says,
with
let's
you."
take the ketamine,
Jackson.
not the fentanyl.
Are you going to say, ow, when you get the ketamine?
Dude, I can't. So for everybody to know, I went up. I just. So what time did this happen? 2:00, you said?
No, that was my son. 5 o'clock is when we wrecked last night.
So when I texted you, it was earlier than that then.
No,
No, it
he
was after. I was
he
sitting in the parking lot waiting for her.
to get discharged.
But I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd tell me not to come.
Motherfuckers. I just texted him. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Last night?
He was in the parking lot of the
And
hospital.
I said, hey, you guys still coming? They're like, yeah, dude. Which, by the way, it took you a little long because he usually answers right away.
We're-
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, there you go.
I can't.
I can't
do
either.
it.
My hands broke.
Yeah, and he took the cast off this morning. Motherfucker.
So anyway,
God damn, dude.
I gotta wipe my ass.
Well, I told him I'd do it
She
for him.
could do that
Yeah,
for you.
that's true though.
No.
I said-
Come on.
Come on,
Some
he said.
things.
What is
So
love?
Baby,
don't hurt me.
so I separated the AC joint in my shoulder and it doesn't want to work. And I fractured my thumb right here.
But I will.
So they put the thing on. And I'm like, just don't do that. And he's like, you're not leaving without it. So this morning I took it off.
Dumb. So he has to see a specialist for his thumb, specialist for his shoulder. But I
feel
mean,
like it'll be fine. I didn't want to go to in true I'm in fashion. I'm like, I don't want to go to the hospital. So it's fine.
Like I just left.
Just got out of there. He's all, damn this thing, I just got that bill paid for, and here we are again.
Oh no, we're still
like-
paying. We're still
no.
paying for the last
But
one.
no, so here's. So would you ride again?
Oh yeah.
What about you?
I was looking for a bike this morning.
But you have.
So-
Attaboy.
well, so I said last night in the
She
hospital.
wanted a different colored bike anyway.
Okay, hold on. I'm petty, Mick
Problem
fucking
solved.
petty. Like, I am petty. I'm like, oh, did you stub your toe when you were with her? Don't fucking stub your toe when you're with me. Don't do it.
Yo, by the
Like,
way,
you did that with her. Don't stub your toe.
Do you remember that bike that I wanted to sell you guys?
Yeah.
And I want to say this because I'm sure they don't listen. So I ended up selling it to my boss for his wife. She laid it down, and now she's like, nope, I don't want to ride.
Oh really?
Well, so for
Such a beautiful. It's fixable.
Yeah.
He will, but it's.
But so with the bike, he obviously had that bike with his ex-wife. And so I was like, if that bike's coming to our wedding, it's going to be painted. Like, at least be painted.
So
So
really,
I even took him to Harley and made
so
him
really
sit on
the
a
voodoo
brand new.
probably
Yeah, I was going to
started
say
6-8 months ago.
I think somebody burned some sage, wrapped some
Yeah,
snakes around,
right.
some killed a chicken,
You know what?
and fucked
Not-
this whole
I
thing.
mean,
You know what? Now you're divorced.
I mean,
That bike,
Now
that
it's
bike is
over.
not coming to my wedding, motherfucker. One way or another.
but I'll admit it, I'm petty, so I'll take it. But I did. I said, well, I mean, so I took him to Harley. We went to Harley one day, and I was like, hey, go sit on that bike.
Oh, I thought you took the total one. They're like,
No. This was a couple months ago. I was like, go sit on
Thinking
that
about a
bike.
trade-in.
Yeah.
What do you give me for
Top
that?
value.
And don't fuck me either.
Yeah.
I know what I got.
I can give you a shirt.
It's 15 grand.
It's covered. But so I was like, and the guy was like, do you have your whatever motorcycle license? He's like, no. And he's like, and I looked at him. I said, can you just throw me a bone? Like, do a favor. Let him just ride it. Because I know if he rides this brand, what was it?
The road glide.
But what year?
20.
Why do you have your motorcycle license?
And I said, right now,
It's a pain in the ass.
go
to
ride
get
that
it.
bike.
I rode for years without
we're
getting
going to get a
one.
brand new bike.
I've ridden and never.
I got pulled over. They impounded my bike and made it so I was contempt of court unless I got. And it was
So,
a motherfucker.
It's like one of them things. It's on the list of to dos. It's just somewhere at the bottom. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I always appreciate the government selling my rights back to me.
Yeah.
I always like that. So I mean, I can.
there we go.
So yeah, so I can have a license to drive a car, which I also have to get. But then to ride a motorcycle, I have to have a separate license that you also have to pay for.
Put Uncle Sam a little bit of cheddar in his pocket. So yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
Dude,
So go ahead.
Tax on my taxes.
On top of all of this, I don't know if we mentioned before, you're getting married
next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, that's a joke now.
Oh no, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And he says,
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah. You guys
we're
did.
doing it. I came and did this podcast. I could at least get married after a week.
You can still walk. You can still walk the aisle, huh?
He's my boy. Will push me down.
Oh yeah. By the way, so what's your name again, dude? Kane. So Kane is here, Eric's son. I've seen you in many Facebook posts and shit, but you also you bought a motorcycle, right? Or yeah?
Yeah, I bought him an expensive helmet.
Nice.
yeah, for graduation, we bought
I
him
told him don't get on the motherfucker.
without a helmet.
Period. And he doesn't. He's good about it. But
You want to hand me a beer?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
Give me one too,
That would
please.
be-
This got a lock.
It's got a lock on it.
But so, sorry, back to like the ketamine thing. So the doctors.
Yeah, back to this. Let's talk about this.
The doctors, when we
we
first
got all
walked
kinds
in,
of
I was
painkiller
like-
stories and
Thank you, my brother.
doctors.
Oh yeah.
Well, so we walk in and Kana drove us, and Eric's like stumbling in there. And excuse me, but this fucking lady hands him a mask. I said, how about a fucking wheelchair? Like, he can't even stand. I looked at her, I said, I don't know about you, but I can't catch him. She's like, oh, nurse. I'm like, get him a fucking wheelchair.
Everybody's so
I was-
fucking concerned about this
Yeah,
COVID,
the COVID.
shit.
Don't you ever say fuck again, okay?
I know. I'm sorry. Excuse it.
We fucking hate that.
I had to, after the end of the night, I had to apologize to a couple nurses about my language. But going through what we went through in January, and then this,
Yeah.
and then they put him in a wheelchair, and then they beep on the thing, trauma, we're going to trauma room B, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, trauma. If I hear that word with this man again, like,
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah, right.
so then the nurse is like, okay, well, they're taking him back, and there'll be a nurse out here with you in a minute. And I was like, all right, well, let me go with him. And they're like, well, due to COVID, you can't go with him. I'm like, I share a bed with him.
Yeah.
So if you're going to listen to the rules of like COVID, right? Like if you're with your
Right.
family, you don't have to wear a mask
Right.
because you live together.
Excuse me, lady. We live in sin. Okay.
Right. We're sinning until Saturday. So just let me continue doing that. Okay. So I'm like, whatever. And I was like, then bring him back out here. I'm taking him fucking home. She's like, what? I said, if you're not going to let me be by his side,
Right.
let me take him home and I'll clean him up myself and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
She's like,
We have a barbecue scraper out back. I will figure this
But I
fucking
was
shit
like-
out.
Sammy's
I
like,
was-
trust me, it's not the first time.
but at the same time, I'm like, who are you going to tell me that I can't
Yeah.
be with my husband?
Yeah.
Like, no. So anyway, so then I go outside and I talk to Kane for a minute, blow my steam, and I go back in and I'm like, all right, I get it. Sorry. She's like, now let me look at you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, but what is wrong with him? What is it, CT? Like, all this shit. She's like, let me get you back into a room. Well, sure as shit, the doctor that did our son 3 hours sooner, she's the same doctor that comes in.
Shit.
Yeah, same hospital.
Same hospital, same doctor. And
Do we need to follow you guys home at this point?
We brought a responsible.
Yeah.
No, I was saying the nurse.
Right. Well, and when Bybee had wrecked on his
Trauma.
little dirt bike, he had a helmet on, but no shin pad, no nothing. So she gives me a lecture of, these shin pads are the best out there, and they make them different than
Fuck
they did
off.
when we were
That's
kids.
part of growing up.
That's what I said. I was like,
I'm still growing up.
right. Well, and I told Bibes, he said to me, he goes, Mom, just give my friend Knox, just give Knox my dirt bike. And I said, you're not no quitter.
No.
Yeah.
Like, you got hurt one time. Like, now you just know, be careful, So he's like, okay, Mom, all right. And so I said, the doctor walks in and the social worker at the same time, right? And I said, look, we're here for 2 reasons. 1, either he's brave and he's tough and his arm's broken, or 2, he's a sissy and we're here and nothing's broken and got to put some Neosporin on some shit. 3 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, don't put Neosporin on it. Don't do it.
Some weird karmic alignment going on. Right?
Irony, all the shit. I was like, oh.
I can't wait to get a new bike though.
That's what I'd be excited about. That's all I'd be
It's gonna
thinking
be a
about this
2020
morning.
with
Like, oh yeah,
ABS.
brand
That
new
is
bike.
fucking crazy.
Because you know
2020
when you
A
total
street bike?
something,
Yeah.
that's the way to kick it out. Because
Yeah.
you get fucked when you sell it, but
Well,
you
and
total it,
and it was
oh,
paid
yeah.
off, and I'm pretty sure
yeah, even better.
That's
and
what I
I'm
was
pretty
gonna ask
sure
you.
I had the accessories insured too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I was gonna ride my bike today.
I wish you would
I
have.
rode it last week for 2 weekends ago, and then I was like, I'm just gonna take my bike. But then it's kind of, remember how you asked me, do you want to go ride? And I'm like, I'm kind of I still got my training wheels on the bike, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not like we joke around me being a biker. Look at my chain, but I
The next step
I don't
is
even
putting
ri-
a whip on your handlebars.
I have one. It just doesn't fit my handle.
Oh,
I was giving my buddy gave me one, but it doesn't fit on my brake lever.
I text Eric one day and I said, I get home, I'm like, I saw a guy on a bike today and it had like those, like the pom-poms, but it was long, you know,
Yeah.
like a whip. And he's like, yeah, because, and I didn't know.
The
I'm like, what is
streamers, yeah.
that? But I'm like, what? Like, is that like, I'm a
keep the cars away.
badass or, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I didn't know. And he's like, well, what'd you say, baby? Like they used
Get back whip.
They
did.
did
used to
that.
hit the
win- they used to hit the windshield
cars
with them.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's to keep the cars away.
damn. So there's like,
As a
again,
purpose.
Yeah, there's a purpose. It's not like.
Although I
fuck
never
with
seen
me.
2 though.
Oh, he had
I don't
two.
know if I've ever seen 2.
I've
either.
seen 1.
Usually always on
you're
the
right.
right side.
Yeah,
right?
huh?
So, but dude, like a horse? Yeah,
Well, so with a horse, you only have one bat, and you
that's
hit,
yeah.
I mean,
It's a bat. You hit a horse with a bat.
Also,
that's what they
calling
call it.
also,
FEMA.
I'm guessing because of your
They call
throttle,
it-
it's gotta be on your left.
Right.
How good are you with your?
See, and it seems like
Know what I
I've
mean?
always
I
seen
beat,
him on the
I beat
right.
off with my left
That's
hand,
true.
so I would be
mean-
outstanding.
That's true.
I could
what
lasso
hand
that
are you good
motherfucker.
with? Wait, what were the dick hands? What was the comment last time?
Right hand. Right hand.
The dick hand.
The dick hand,
dick
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Ah, the dick hand.
Dick hand. So maybe the throttle hand, dick hand, and the whip hand all in one.
One side, right side.
What?
So I also asked you this yesterday, and you said it was okay for us to talk about. And she mentioned it earlier about what happened in January.
Yeah.
You want to walk us through that? So we went to see your fight,
Yeah.
and
I lost.
well, that's all the time we have.
Where's your button?
We got one of those.
So, the fight, biggest fight of my life.
Yeah.
I just come off of Knockout of the Year for, was highlighted on the UFC website and everything for LFA.
cool.
I go out to fight Zach, and it's like I know everything up until the actual shot they hit me.
Right.
So we go out, we're fighting, he throws a kick, something. I don't know. It's
Well, when Eric, when he was still in the cage, he thought it was 2005. So
Jesus.
it probably was.
but the initial hit.
I'm a time traveler.
Don't glare at me.
Ketamine, that'll make anybody time travel.
So me and him lock up. He gets me against the cage, and I'm holding him, and I'm like, he can't get me down. It's already made up in my mind, right?
Yeah.
So we break, and I shrug him off, and he drops back, being a left-hander.
Mm-hmm.
He just takes a step back instead of having to pivot around.
Right.
And I turn to meet him, and he catches me with a shot I don't see and knocks me out. So come to find out, it broke my jaw, but not my jaw. It broke my midline face. So where your upper teeth are between your teeth and your nose, they call that a midline. So it was a midline fracture. So my jaw broke off.
Have you guys watched the video of the fight since?
I have.
So that initial left, he was knocked out. So even when he threw, once he took those steps back and he was already knocked out. Like he was still not.
Well,
and that's when those multiple hits came in.
So I remember
His hands
I
went
was
down.
texting you, and you see, but we didn't know back then. We knew you lost. You went backstage, and then we were all sitting down, and I know that some people went and talked to you. The wife was like, "You gotta go say something. You gotta." I'm like, "What am I gonna say that any of these guys have
We
said already?"
appreciated you coming back.
And I did
You
come
came
back.
back?
Yeah. He doesn't
I
remember.
came back too.
He doesn't remember.
He talked to you. I was just like, I'll just wait
The
until
only thing I remember about that was I was bleeding. And I remember I was leaning forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was blood still running off of me.
So let me ask you this: I don't remember when they put you side by side and they raised his hand. Were you there? Were you standing there? Because my question is, if you were, are you just out of it? You don't remember that, or?
So I mean, I've had a few concussions.
And a girl.
Go for it,
I'm
sister.
like, damn, I don't want that mic next to me. I just burped.
Oh, we heard it anyway.
Yeah,
we've been hearing you farting anyway.
I don't need it. Oh no, that won't happen. Hey, that won't happen.
Anyway.
I don't know if she actually does that. I've never heard
Nope.
it.
Well, now that you
Never.
guys are gonna, you have
Never-
to. You guys
no,
are gonna get married.
No.
Are you
So-
serious?
Swear to God.
Anyway, we'll get back to that.
Okay.
So
Be sure.
so it happens.
We can move this if you want to stretch your
No,
legs out. I want you
I'm
guys to
good.
be as comfortable as you can.
Yeah.
I actually like having my foot up, so it's good.
We have an ambulance on call too, but whatever. Go ahead.
I avoid them like the plague. So I can tell. I mean, obviously, like, well, me being me, I'm like, I'm not going to the doctor. And Fabio comes up to her and he was like, "Look, I heard him in the cage. Whatever happens, he has to go to the doctor."
Yeah, he says he has a concussion, but make sure you take him to the hospital.
And I'm like, "It's fine. Let's go home and get drunk." And so
And me being me, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Get in the truck. Let's go home.
Yeah,
So I knew I'm like, once I get him in the truck,
go to the hospital.
I'm driving.
Yeah,
And there's a reason I have never drank at any of his fights.
yeah, okay,
Ever.
yeah, because of past experiences with some others.
yeah.
I'm like, I won't ever. But
So we get to the hospital and they take me back and they take me back for a CT scan and basically tell her, I don't know how you walked in here. His face is actually pushed back.
well, so he did walk in, and the doctor came and got me, and he's like, you need to step out of the room so we can talk to you. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And so he sits me down and he puts all the images up on a screen. He's working through them and he's like, do you see this, this, this? And he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, I don't know how he's alive. And right then I text Fabio and Tiago and I said, look, I'm not doing this alone. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to say that obviously in front of him because they had already had him all drugged up. And I was like, okay, like, how do you reach out to somebody that isn't going to be a coach? You know what I mean? Like, that's who you lean on for everything, you know? And so that's when I text Fabio and I'm like, I need you. And that's all I had to say. And him, Tiago, and Joycey were there in a minute. And I remember Tiago just walking up to me and he grabs my arms and he says, all right, you got to be strong. Don't let him see you cry. Whatever you do it, but don't let him see you. I was like,
And see, and that was where I was going because, like I said, I went back with you guys at the day of the fights, and then I didn't want to say anything. A couple days go by, and I texted you because we didn't know about about you, and then it was like 1 or 2 days texting you. It was like there was no answer, and I'm like, so I texted you, and I said, hey, it's all right. I just want to talk to him, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him. Right. And I think she said something like, well, keep trying, because he's got like his jaw. I guess your jaw was shut, closed.
Well, and that's a whole nother story. So, we are at Lakeview Hospital in Bountiful, and he basically tells her, I don't know how you walked in here, blah, blah. You need to go to the U right now. Like right now. And again, me being me, they're like, well, we're going to call you an ambulance. You have to go to the U.
Eric's like, I ride my bike.
Nope.
Brop, brop.
Nope. I ain't getting in no ambulance. I'm already trying to calculate what my insurance is.
You're looking for your keys already.
So
Eric's like, after this fight, I'll go.
This guy,
Next time.
This guy says,
it's starting right now. We're fine.
if you leave, we have to take out your IV. And I said, yeah, that's why you want to give me that's why you want me to go in an ambulance? So you don't have to take out my...
Take out his fucking IV.
That's what I said too. I'm like, take that out. Though. Give me another one. I got 2 arms. Don't be stupid.
Give me some water. I'll do it myself.
I'll wash it off.
I will say, like, their concern is like, well, what if you guys get into an accident on your
absolutely.
way there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, and then the nurses, well, they wanted to be there. At first, they're like, well, you can take him home. And I'm all, you want me to fucking take him home after you just told me I'm lucky he's alive?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he has that severe of an accident. And they're like, well, we don't have a specialist on call that can do the procedure. You'd have to go to the U anyways. And I'm like, okay, so what happens with a head trauma and he's going to the bathroom and he falls? Yeah. You think I can pick him up?
Yeah.
I can't pick him
Right.
up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, but
Yeah.
so there's more. Like, I was more worried about taking him home and not being sure of whatever.
Right.
And so they're like, well, the U is the trauma center that we would send him to. I'm like, so why aren't you sending him there? Because me being so you're going to either send him home or you're going to send him to a trauma center? Like, which one is it? You know what I mean?
Excuse me.
Like,
I hit the bottom of that drink.
But, so there was a lot of, I would say, me not pursuing or persuading or whatever, like, he needs to be whatever, but so
Tell me when.
I did. I got him. He's going to go 5 seconds. Yeah.
5 hard count.
5.
We do it miles.
But, so we got him in the,
Jesus.
I don't drink carbonation. I don't drink, so I don't.
Just let him fucking go.
No way. So, we get him in the truck, we get him to the U, and I'm not, I got the hiccups now.
The U is a whole new
Next
universe.
fucking level. So we walk up and they look at me because I'm like, I have him in a wheelchair and I'm pushing him up, and
I'll do her.
I knew it.
I'll do her.
So I'm pushing him up and
We're
they're
gonna go to
like,
jail after this.
I brought a driver. You guys need a ride. We'll take it.
there's no, what is it? We don't have the rights to whatever with the alcohol. It's fine.
Yeah.
But so we walk up and they're like, oh, I'm in. We're waiting for him. Fucking whole team swarms him. There's probably 15 different doctors. And then again, a social worker comes up and grabs me and I'm like,
she beats me.
yeah, I'm like, you think I did that trauma to his face? But I'm sitting outside and they're like, da da da, we're rushing him to surgery, his orbitals and this and this and this. And I can just overhear them. And so the social worker's like, sit down, let me talk to you. And I'm like, you're making this more intense than anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You
gotta
know
be
what
the
I-
worst,
Yeah, I'm
man.
like, so she's like, I just need to make sure that you're okay. And obviously not being his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm his wife.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you I'm not
because
you're not going to like, oh, check records.
Yeah.
And sh-.
Right.
Like, no, but I'm like, I'm not leaving this, whatever. So they take me back.
This was pre-COVID.
Yeah. And they never, I mean, the U was awesome and their response and whatever in reality, I guess. But we went through some shit. We were in the trauma room and they were like, oh, the surgery got sent back. And they said that his fracture on his face, when they normally see that, is when somebody gets rear-ended from behind in a steering wheel.
Right.
Oh.
So
Damn.
so they're in one room and then they transfer him to another and we're sitting there and I'll never, ever forget it. The doctor walks in and he's like, so I've looked at your x-rays, but let me just see. Puts his fingers in the roof of his mouth and goes like this.
So, yeah,
And
so
Eric just
my teeth
grabs-
and jaw and everything move.
So it's floating.
Oh,
So it would be
Chomp, chomp.
so like if you could
Back in.
imagine like putting in some dentures,
Yeah, yeah.
right,
Right.
and then
And then
taking
just-
them out or
and
moving
moving
them around. That's what it was like. Because like even I could feel it. It was like click, click, click. Because so the bone that holds my upper teeth in was broken off of my
So
skull.
his bottom half of his jaw was floating.
Yeah.
God damn.
Jesus Christ.
You are the toughest motherfucker I have ever met.
I don't know
And
if it's
here you are, both of you, for God's sakes.
I don't know if it's tough or dumb. So they make this big fit about like at Lakeview, they were like, he needs surgery now,
Yeah.
right now. And then the doctor that tries to pull my teeth out, he says, well,
I was about ready to
7 days. He needs it within 7 days.
No, 14.
Oh yeah, 14 days. So we're sitting there. They transfer us to like a hotel room, and I'm like, look, we got kids. I'm not sitting.
I'm not paying for a
You guys,
babysitter.
you guys. I'll gladly, I'll gladly pay for a babysitter. I ain't paying to sit in this some bitch for 7 days. So we're finally. I'm like, look, we got kids. So if you're not doing the surgery today, we're leaving.
Because they kept telling us, oh, your surgery's going to be in 30 minutes. Your surgery's going to be in an hour, 2 hours. Well, the problem with it is that we had to have an ortho surgeon. We had to have a facial...
Reconstruction.
Right. And
Yeah.
then we also had to have an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And then we had to have a
Plastic surgeon.
So to
Eyes,
try
toes,
to get...
knees, and mouth.
Yeah,
Should
exactly.
have gotten hair plugs while you're there, dude.
Like, no shit.
This is what 100 grand.
No,
buys
have you seen Joe Rogan's scars from hair plugs?
Look at these tits. I got.
This is as pretty as you could get for 100 grand. So just consider that when
But now I
you're
go
paying
pee and
for
I go-
something.
I know the doctor says when he wakes up, well, when we go back, obviously, he says, well, just be lucky that your wife could have chose any face, and this is the one she chose.
Hey, wait.
I was like, yeah, I like the way you look.
So meanwhile,
Just the
nobody
nice buttons. My bad.
Like
nobody can get me in for surgery. I'm pretty much incoherent. I can't eat anything, obviously, you know. We go a few days and Sammy is just beating the drum about finding somebody to get this done. She's like, he's not going to sit here for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then you're going to do surgery and then he has to start healing again.
Well, my aspect was like the mental standpoint, right? Like, so mentally, you're sitting on the couch knowing your body is naturally doing what it's doing, but you can't do anything about it, and you're gonna have to go through it again.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like mentally just sitting
Right.
there, like,
No, absolutely.
I'm doing nothing for nothing. Like, he can't, that's something that isn't gonna happen. So I called Ogden Clinic, and I'm like, hey, ear, nose, and throat doctor. We go and see them. I give him the CDs, and I'm like, don't touch him. Look at the pictures. If you can do the surgery, great. If you can't, and they're like, well, we can.
She's like, do not put your fingers in his mouth. Whatever happens.
I was like, huh, and she's like, baby, it's okay. I said, it ain't fucking okay. No one's touching you until they tell me that they can actually do the procedure.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
the point for you
Yeah.
to go through that pain? So I basically put together the entire OR. I called Ogden Clinic. We went and saw them, and then they said, okay, well, now you need an oral surgeon. I said, well, I'll call one of those. And then I need to call and get an OR time, like what ORs are open. And I called the University of Utah and I said, look, like, what's the holdup? Like, what surgeons are available? And I called her. Her name was Tina. She was awesome. She was patient because I was
Her
pissed.
last name Turner.
I mean, I don't know, but I'd be cool.
She'd also had facial reconstruction surgery. So she was.
So she was super empathetic. And so she
That was
says,
a Tina Turner joke. You guys are fucking slow.
My bad. Well, fuck you. Don't worry about your health over
sorry,
here.
yeah, we're all focused on something else.
I'm not that worried about it.
Weird.
Was that Bobby Brown too? No, that was Whitney.
Whitney Houston.
Oh, okay. Well,
Wait.
tomato.
Same, but different. So I called University of Utah and I said, well, waiting 2 weeks isn't an option. So whatever, you know, and she's like, okay, this doctor can either do it this Friday, but for sure next Friday. But you can't make an appointment with another surgeon
Right.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, so this one can maybe do it on Friday, but for sure next Friday.
Fucking nightmare.
I'm like, just make an appointment with 4 different surgeons, and whichever one pops up first,
Exactly.
take it. You know, and then I'll cancel that one the next day. Like, whatever. And she's like, you can't do that because they're all in the same system.
It's incestuous.
So you can't like double
Can't
book them or
stack
whatever.
surgeons on each other.
And so I was like, okay, so I called.
I don't know any of this is going on. I'm at home,
well, you're on the other side of the Beehive podcast right
drinking. I'm at home.
now. That's Justin.
I'm at home on painkillers trying to figure out how to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be fucking.
Yeah. So I'm like still going to work, but whatever. And so I'm like, okay. So finally she says, well, this doctor might be able to do it on Friday, but this one will for sure be able to do it next Friday, but you can't double book. And I said,
This one is on lunch break. but
right.
the
No
ones that-
shit. I'm like, okay. And I get it. Like doctors have their job. Everyone has their own job to do, whatever. But I'm like, okay, so what do I have to do? She's like, what do you mean? I said, give me some surgeons' numbers. Give me an ortho surgeon. Give me a plastic surgeon. Give me whatever I need to do, and I'll make my own OR.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'll do it. And so she's like, what? And I'm like, well, I met with a doctor at Ogden Clinic. He's able to do the surgery. Is he approved to do the surgery with your da-da-da? Like, it was a joke. And then finally she calls me back and says, okay, I've sent out a mass email to all of the University of Utah, like all of their whatever, to see what we can do. And I'm like, thank you. And I appreciate that. I gave her an hour. I called her back.
Thank you. She's all-
Relentless.
And I was like, all
Relentless.
right. And so, I mean, it all worked out fine. I took the, whatever, I don't know, gamble on the doctor that could maybe do it on that Friday. And I said, well, maybe on Friday, because if it's maybe on Friday and it doesn't happen,
Right.
well, guess what? Like, I still have another week to be able to
Yeah.
get a for sure thing. So
Yeah.
either way, whatever. So we took the gamble and it worked, and we really liked that doctor, but
He had really perfect teeth. His teeth were perfect.
Eric just kept saying, is my teeth going to look like your teeth?
Come out talking like Mike Tyson over there.
I can only imagine if this is all broke and you got to eat, right? And we're talking you're eating through a straw, right?
No, not yet.
So what do you?
Nothing's wired. Nothing's nothing.
Huh? Oh, so it's all just floating.
Yeah. Oh, it's still floating
It gets, it
till
gets
surgery.
farther. So we go to surgery, and there's 4 surgeons, and he tells me, I'm going to try to fix your nose because it's been broke, a dozen
100
times.
Did he have cards? He's all, which one do you want to look like?
Right?
We have
No, I didn't even get the option.
Michael Jackson. You're like, no, not that one.
I'm telling you,
Model you want.
That one melts.
$100,000 does not give you that
No,
many options.
absolutely not.
Jesus.
So he goes through the whole thing. He's like, I'm gonna try to fix your nose. So here's the backstory of all this too, is essentially that the fracture where it was broke before. And I didn't know. So, and I'm almost certain it's from when I fought Eti Palu at
Right.
at FitCon,
Yeah.
because I had this swelling and I had the same numbness I have now in my
Did
cheeks.
you go to the doctor?
Yeah, and they fucking put 18 stitches in my face, but they never CT scanned my face.
Well, see you later.
Yeah.
Tea time at 3.
Right. So it turns out there was an old fracture where it broke, and instead of it meshing together, it laid over the top of each other like
Yeah,
a
so the
plate
bone
would.
was healed this way instead of this way. So when
So
he
it
got
was a
hit,
weak
it
point
just
anyway,
split.
and you have 2 guys that are big athletic guys throwing punches at each other, something's going to give, and it happened to be this old fracture.
Shit.
So, and not to mention, I mean, I've walked around with that way, and I had 2 fractures. So
Both of his orbitals.
for 2 years, I fought every 90 days, and 1 year I got 56 stitches in my face, but I never had a CT scan. Nobody ever CT scanned me. And the first thing
CT scan him.
First thing Lakeview does is CT scan me, and then I've got 2 fractures that run laterally next to my eyes that are old.
They're old. They're not like they're already healed the way they're gonna heal. Like
Yeah. And I've got 2 new fractures under my eyes from the catastrophe of my midline face fracture. So, I mean, it was just, you keep fighting. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So they basically plated me from right under my eyes all the way down to the top of my teeth. But my jaw had moved back because it was broken and my 2 front teeth were falling out.
Let's not talk about the 2 front teeth.
So
Let's talk about the 2
I
front teeth.
hate the 2 front teeth.
they're fake?
We don't want it for Christmas.
yet.
Oh, we want them
That's
for
the problem.
Christmas.
So,
I mean,
so he goes in and he does that, but he tells me prior, because I'm super good on anesthesia. I'm a model patient. So he
try
plates
keeping
me.
this man in a hospital bed.
And then, and this is all afterwards. So he puts the plates in, but he has to re-break my nose 6 times to get it back to this fine, this fine monument of a nose.
well, and again,
Mount
it's
Rushmore.
like
This face
I was going to
belongs on
say,
Mount
they'll
Rushmore.
chisel
When
that
they're
for
in
you just the way
surgery.
they need to.
when they're in surgery, they put their name and their numbers and whatever. Well, they don't put their name, but their numbers and all this shit up.
They
Like,
hang his gloves and shit.
so you're like sitting
Signs
there,
them.
you're like watching a screen, right? And they're like, "All right, opening," and I'm like, "Okay." So what they had to do is cut here and pull his face back to
Oh,
put the plates in,
Yeah, they cut your lip off of your face on the inside.
literally, and they peel it back.
And they lift your face up, and then they put slide the plates in and bolt them down. So I can still feel like my upper lip isn't the same as it was. It's like way lower to the teeth than it used to be. So when I put a Zen pouch in, because I'm trying to quit
got
chewing-
one?
Yeah,
Oh yeah!
fuck if you've got
See,
one.
I was like, maybe they got one because we were
My
on our way down
man.
here, and I was like, well, I had one in the bedroom.
Thank you,
Like,
baby Jesus.
I ran out of.
Coffee,
Be gentle at
Oh,
home.
that coffee is like his after
It's
dinner.
dessert.
cinnamon in the morning, or coffee in the morning, cinnamon
I don't
afterwards.
do the cinnamon ones. I don't like them, but I like the coffee after
do
I
too.
eat. It's like,
He always says, "Now it's time for
nice.
dessert."
The other side of the Beehive, helping those struck by life.
Hey, do you hear this interference in our microphone? I think it might be a skull.
it might be the clicking in my staples.
So how long was your jaw wired?
Well, it gets better. Stop trying to skip forward. I'm telling you, this story just gets better. So, meanwhile, I'm under. This is how I wake up.
Oh no, because your mouth was wired shut.
Yeah.
So the doctor says,
but I didn't know.
he says to us multiple times, put it in your head that your jaw might be wired shut. If I can try to save your teeth, I'm going to wire it shut to save your teeth. But it's not for sure, but your mouth might be wired shut. So when he comes to, they say it happens a lot where you feel claustrophobic because you wake up and then you can't move your mouth.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
So it's like you're claustrophobic and you're whatever.
When I've been put out for like 5 hours.
Yeah, so that was the thing is like you see it on the
fuck.
screen and I'm like, open, okay, closing, okay, an hour and a half, still fucking closing. And the ORs do shut down. Like those nurses go home and they only have like 2 on-call people in the back, right?
Right.
So I walk in the back and I'm like, okay, so he's been closing for an hour and a half. Like, so updates. Well, he was trying to break his nose, but every time he'd break it, the cartilage, like, so it took him over an hour just on his nose. So then the doctor finally comes out and he's like, all right, he's done. And I'm like, so an hour and a half surgery just turned into 3 and nobody communicated to me prior to me like going back there and getting quite like whatever.
Yeah, the guy, he told me after, he's like, well, it took me an hour to put the plates in. The other 2 hours was breaking and re-breaking your nose.
But he said, he's like, anything that like cosmetic, you're going to have to go find a plastic surgeon because I can't do that. I just wanted to make sure you could breathe right, is what he said.
So much better.
You got the Ram air system in there now, man. Yeah.
Packing it up there. So I wake up and she's like, you know, I'm freaking out.
Well, then again, a nurse comes and gets me and she's like, Ken, are you his wife? Can you come back? And I'm like, yeah. And Kane and Eric's mom are in the waiting room also. And I'm like, well, yeah. We're in the hall and she goes, we just can't wake him up. I'm like, what? So like the verbiage
dude.
of all of these nurses, she's
God.
like, he just isn't coming to. So maybe like him hearing your voice or something like will help him wake up. And I'm like, he's not even awake yet. And this is after an hour of him being out of surgery. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, like wake up. And I'm like, but be prepared. Your jaw's wired shut. Your jaw's wired shut. like trying to like prepare him, right?
They were trying to put him out. I was like, hey, how tall is he? 7 feet tall.
Turn that laughing gas all the way up. So I go back there and I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't think. He's comes to a little bit and he's arching his back and just screaming. And when he would arch his back, every time he would slide down the bed a little bit. And I looked at this lady and I'm like, look, he's in pain. Like, put him back out. Like, give him something, you know? And she's like, well, I need him to tell me he's in pain. I'm all, he's a grown-ass man laying here arching his back, screaming his ass off. Like, what else do you want from the man?
And my jaw's wired.
Did they have that scale? They're all, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10 with the smiley faces, how are you feeling?
They kept asking
Write
me
down
that
how you
last
feel.
night. I'm like, I'm a solid 6, and I've been a 10, so 6 ain't bad.
So then he finally comes to, and he's all, he looks at this lady, and she's this little petite Asian lady, and he goes, I'm sorry, you should be home with your family. And you're here with me because I decided to get in a fight. I'm so sorry. So then I'm like, okay, so just wait for it. And then 2 seconds later, take me home. I was like, and then there was this other male nurse in there, and I said, hey, come here, will you help me just like lift him, drag him back into his bed? She's like, oh, I'll help you. And I was like, baby girl. Like, as cute as you are, maybe just put your hands on his feet so he can like push a little. Like, let's shimmy him up into his bed.
So good on their anesthesia.
Holy shit.
So again, last night when they came to me and they're like, still won't let me in his room, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, so what medications are you guys giving him? Just wondering. I'm like, he just had his face reconstructed in January.
He's got one of them shakers. He's all, well, we got a little bit of this.
And a little bit of that.
ketamine.
The doctor's like, man, what brings you today?
Right? And then, not shitting you, 5 minutes later, she comes back and she goes, I think it would be better for him if you were in the room. I said, you think?
Yeah.
And I said, but I think it'll be better for all of you if I'm in the room. I'm like, let's be honest here.
Is there any shit hanging on the walls? Because we're going to want to take all that down.
Yeah.
Well, they gave me the ketamine, and
Instantly, he looks at me. He's like, well, close your eyes.
and I'm so they put me under anesthesia, and I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, bad shit's happened to me. So, something that's not supposed to happen to me, it's fucking happening to me. I got to get out of here. So they give it to me, and they're trying to like warn her, and she's like, I'm warning you. So, and I start freaking out, and I think I yelled, my name's Eric, I'm here to party, and
Oh my God. And then the nurse says, oh, you seem like a fun guy. He goes, like mushrooms? I'm a fun guy.
Can you imagine?
Mushrooms.
then I'm like, all right. I look at her, I'm like, baby, we should just leave.
I feel great. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel good. Let's just walk out. And the nurses are all starting to panic.
What bar's open right now?
And
His butt's off in the air.
Sammy's
outta
so
here.
sweet. She puts her hand and she says, baby, I got to get my road rash cleaned up too. And I was like, oh, we should stay then.
Yeah.
And the doctor looks at me and goes, damn, you're good. I was like, told you wanted me in here. Fuck COVID.
Because, I mean, there's 4 people in there. Realistically, if I'm going to leave, I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We're out of here.
Right.
So, yeah, my adventures under anesthesia are really cool.
Or any pain, anything.
Needless to say, this is your ride or die. Right?
Fucking,
Right?
it's about time somebody
Right.
ended up.
Yo, so
It's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Here's the best. So here's the segue into the marriage thing. And I don't actually, most people don't know this. I was going to say this on here, so hopefully it's okay if I say it.
I love
Don't
it.
say it. Whisper.
Here we go.
by the way, the fact that you guys are getting married, I'm gonna say it. It's thanks to my boy over here.
I was going
Remember
to
when
say that too, because you're like, when are you going to put a ring on it? And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Hold on. So
You guys walked away out of the room
You know
that
what?
day, and him and I were like,
I'll be honest with you. This part being broken is probably you grinding your teeth when I asked that question. 'Cause if you listen to the podcast, you could hear that fucking silence.
you weakened it.
the whole world stops.
Justin told me that was my dickhead comment that I made right there.
We're sixes now.
Anyway, so
Chambry's calling you. So
Chambry.
she comes to me 2 days before the surgery, and she's like, okay,
Oh fuck! You're gonna put that. You're gonna air it.
Put it.
We're fucking airing it.
Let me
She-
start, let me start touching
Goddamn.
myself.
She.
There's a lot of family that doesn't know this yet.
Yeah. So she
A
comes
lot of
up
friends that don't know this yet.
and she says, "Okay, I've ran the insurance, this and that." She said, "Minimum out of pocket with your insurance can be $12,000
No. it
minimum."
was- Okay. We'll roll with that. Anyway, no,
Go ahead.
Go. No, I'll let you tell.
I'm gonna jab you in the road rash. Just go.
Guess what? I can jab you, rub back.
Oh, you guys are perfect to get married anyway.
Just go.
So she says, with
It was
my,
gonna be a $68,000, and
which is
his-
the estimate, was $68,000.
So it was gonna be out of pocket because we had to pay 80/20 his bullshit insurance 80/20 after he meets his $5,000 deductible.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
20% of $68,000.
Yep.
Okay, now go. You're welcome.
Hey, you
So
better
she
get used to it.
says, with my insurance, it's gonna cost $300.
Because I have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Federal.
She said, "I love you. Are we gonna get married?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Okay, now."
Yeah, thanks to fucking Justin.
Well, no, I approached it. I said, "Hey, baby, like, going through what we just went through, I'm like, are we gonna get married someday?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Good." So I called. I got a quote from my insurance, your insurance. The courthouse cost $50. We're fucking doing it. And he says, "No, we're not. You deserve more than that." And I said, "Well, I deserve to marry someone that's not medically bankrupt."
Yeah.
So
Because I was like, you deserve to have
I've
the
never
wedding
been
that
married.
you deserve.
I've never been married.
Oh, okay.
Never, But
So I was like, I whatever it costs, it costs.
Yeah.
But you deserve better than this. And then she says, "I deserve somebody that's not medically bankrupt."
because I've worked hard for my fucking credit, and I'm like, I've built that shit over and over again multiple times. Like, we ain't doing that shit again.
So I'm like,
I'm
like,
such a
let me-
reality person.
yeah, she really is.
I'm more reality,
especially
and
as
then my
hippie as
emotions
she
kick
is.
in.
Really, really based in earth for how hippie she is.
I'm like reality, and then once reality is figured out, then my emotions kick in. Like
Yeah.
today, yesterday, everything's fucking handled. Today we saw a car rolled over on the freeway, and I fucking
Oh, is that on I-15?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the one I just told you.
and I was like, oh, emotions, But for the
So I hang up the phone with her. And I'm like, nope, no, you deserve better. And then,
this is on Monday,
yeah, so
motherfucker.
I'm supposed to have surgery on Friday. On Wednesday, I call her.
No, it was Thursday, baby.
Yeah.
It was Thursday.
it was
Because your mom was flying in that day.
Oh, that's right.
I just added to my to-do list,
Oh, that's on the podcast now.
So I call her and I said, "All right, are we getting married?"
No. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm working." And I said, "I got to do all this before your mom comes in." He goes, "Oh, how are you going to do all that shit and get married?"
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I said, "And do what?" It's 10 a.m. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Fuck yeah." He's at work. And so I took my lunch break and
We
we
went and got
rolled
married.
out.
Went and got married at the
Oh,
courthouse.
did you? That's good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I'm like, all right, we're fucking doing it. But this wedding in August is because he's like, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even after we were married, I was like on our way to the courthouse. I'm like, should I stop and get rings? And he's like, no. And then he proposed, obviously, in February. And
Right.
he's like, I want you to have all the things. Like, but at the same
So the
time,
Pope is marrying you guys, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
should.
he's gonna actually pick us both up and hang us over.
After this story, I feel like
But
Take a ride on the Pope mobile and shit.
and his whole thing
In
was
that glass case and everything.
right. Yeah. Do-do-do-do-do. Elbow,
like a-
elbow, wrist,
sound-
wrist.
sounds like a circus.
Well,
So-
congratulations,
Yeah,
you guys.
congrats.
That's fucking great.
Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of family that doesn't know that we're already married. But.
Oh, I see.
You didn't get that?
No, I'm sorry. I'm
okay.
like,
That's why I was like, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, important. Like
doesn't
my mom
really
and
matter,
dad.
though,
no,
does it?
no,
Right?
it doesn't.
it's just like,
No, I mean it doesn't. And I told her when we did it, I was like, "We're having a real wedding. You deserve it. Whatever happens."
so is this gonna be like a traditional wedding and everything? The whole 9 yards, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude, when
because it's my first.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Team up. When we got married, it was horrible because
way to start that one.
Because you got married.
Because we were the way we did it was that we rented this place, and then we were married already because we went and signed the paper, right? And so we this when she came out with everybody and she's like walking the aisle or whatever you want to call it, there was no music. Like she came out, and there was like no music, and we would just stay there, like staring at her. No one's making a noise, and I remember thinking, that's not the way we're supposed to do it, is it? You just put your butt on the fucking.
Thank you.
You just put your ass on the camera.
Ooh, girl.
Is there a noise
For what?
when you bend over in front of the camera?
No, it's just this one. But yeah, it was weird, and I'm not gonna ask Justin about being weird on his wedding because he got married in a fucking cemetery or whatever.
Get the fuck out of here. It was not a cemetery. It was a liquor store parking lot. Thank you very much.
Even better.
So, you want to talk about, I've never been married and I want a nice wedding. Well, I'll take you and have a nice wedding. So we get married in a liquor store parking lot in Vegas.
Yeah.
On 11/11/11.
Oh.
Ooh.
Poor girl. Her Mormon family came. They're like, what in the fuck? What in the fuck are we doing? I'm like, well, it is what it is. So
You're welcome to the family.
They better start getting used
I'm
to.
like, hey, hold my bastard child while we get married.
That's extreme.
Hey, how many kids do you have?
3.
And you have?
2.
Well, I have 4.
2.
Okay.
I have a stepdaughter already since she
You
was
guys got
3.
the Brady Bunch.
Holy fuck.
Hell yeah.
She's my kid, so I'll
Yep.
never claim her otherwise.
Yep.
It's his sister and me, and we've been split up a long time, but that's still my kid.
Yeah.
Right.
And same thing with her kids. Like we all moved in. I was like, these are my kids now. I don't care.
Yo, yeah, because last time you were here, you just barely bought that mansion of yours, right?
Oh, it's not a mansion, but it's definitely
Well,
not.
you need one for so many kids.
I know.
Well,
Did
thank
you get
God.
an invite?
No, I didn't.
No, neither did me.
Oh, stop it right now.
Well, they were probably going to
still
send this one,
haven't-
but they got in an accident somewhere.
Well, guess what? We still haven't had a housewarming party, so
Yeah, it's in the saddlebag. Your invitation that I
it's at
mailed
the
you.
it's at the lot.
Yeah.
It's in the saddlebag, he says, at the wrecking yard, right?
So are you... Hopefully you're done fighting, right?
Yeah, I'm done.
You done?
I'm done.
Is that
I'm done.
bittersweet? Is that... But you say you'll be in the gym,
I'm-
right? You still going to work with people? Or
Well,
not
and
even
I
that?
haven't been trying to get ready for this wedding.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I've been a little bit more selfish with my time.
Your bike says, hold my beer.
You want to talk about selfish?
So I haven't been in the gym as much as I feel like I should have been. We've been trying to, especially this last 3 weeks has just been every night is wedding stuff. And, but I've been a little more selfish with my time. For the first time in 10 years, I go home after work.
Are you involved in wedding shit, or you just want to be like, I just want to fucking...
I just, she's like, we have to
guess I
go
should ask you.
pick this stuff up. And I drive the truck and we pick stuff up. So she's coordinated pretty much all of it.
Well, that's
to
the
be
thing, though,
fair.
because one of the things that we talk about here on the podcast is like, you asked me, hey, I want you to come to my wedding. And my response was like, nah, dude, I'm good. And then you're like, what a dick. But you already sent me.
I know. That's like the communication, right? Like, okay. So I tell him like certain people that I'm like, hey, get their address.
So you sent me a picture of the invitation on your fridge, and I'm like,
Yeah, like this fucking guy. Well, and it was so funny because right after he had sent you that text, he was like, "Oh, I just told Angel to give me his address for," and I'm like, "I already fucking mailed him one."
Oh, yeah, that's what he was. That's what he asked me for my
That's
address.
been done for a month now,
yeah.
there,
And
bud.
he was like, "Oh, you did," and I'm like,
Eric, we're already married.
Welcome to 2020 there, bud. I know you time travel and
I've had a
everything.
lot of concussions. I've had a
no
lot
ketamine.
of brain trauma. Stop it.
But yeah, I was like, "Well, joke's on you," because I already took care of it.
Are you guys traveling, or can you? You can, right? You guys going somewhere for honeymoon?
Dude, they drove here to do a podcast. They can go to Bahamas if they want to right now, for God's sakes. Look,
Just on a bike.
Look at these tough motherfuckers. Holy shit.
My parents didn't raise
There's
no pussy.
blood. She has blood leaking out of her armpit, this poor girl.
I know I haven't had time to change my dressing.
She's fucking...
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
So-
This is the best podcast ever.
I know. So he's telling me, you don't have to do this. I said, I know. I want to.
So this morning when I started to like wash his arm and stuff, I have him standing in the shower. I'm going to have him stand in the shower and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to, like the shower head or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like too much. So I take it off and I'm like, okay. So I fill a bowl of water. And I'm like trying to like, and he's just like, it's not happening. So I'm like, okay. So we have to like figure out another way to do this. So then I'm like, squirt some, what is it? Not peroxide.
Hydrogen
peroxide, yeah. On
Rubbing
it.
alcohol.
Yeah, I was like, it's in the black bottle. Whatever.
Vinegar.
So, yeah, apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar. I'll be healed tomorrow.
We could take the pills, apple cider vinegar pills.
You're all,
Heal
fuck
you from the
TRT.
inside
I got
out.
apple cider vinegar.
On it. And so I was like, okay. So I squirt a little bit on it. He's like, I'm like, okay.
Oh,
so then I
man.
put it on a towel and like dab it on, like, okay. So we finally get through it an hour and a half later. Well, then to wrap the gauze and shit, I'm like, well, fuck. That hospital said, we hooked you up fat. Yeah, for a fucking toddler calf.
For one time.
Like his arm is 7 feet long. Like, so I got all this gauze. Well, before we put on like these little patches that make it so the gauze don't stick or whatever.
Right.
Well, they come individually wrapped.
Ooh.
And she needs 82 of them.
So I'm like, there's a stack of them laying there, all this shit. And I'm like, well, he goes, well, gotta save some for you. And I said, we'll have to go to the store after the podcast.
Oh, man.
So were you correct me if I'm wrong, were you training to do a bodybuilding?
Yeah.
You were, right?
Yeah.
Before this whole COVID shit started?
Yep. And then it got canceled because of COVID. And then I was like, fuck, I was so close. And it's hard now to like look back and be like, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I struggled with it a little bit because he was in fight camp and I was training. And so we bought a bike for the house because I had to do an hour of cardio a day.
Yeah.
So an hour of cardio a day in the living room, like kids were doing homework, because we'd go to the gym together. But then I'm like, well, I still have to do cardio.
Yeah.
But I still have to do homework and I still have to cook dinner and I still have to meal prep and, and laundry and everything else. So I went to him a couple of times. I'm like, baby, like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I feel like I'm neglecting my family. Like, I feel like you guys are getting the short end of the stick. Like, and even with him in fight camp, I'm like, I should be not just like, oh, yeah, that's wifely duties or whatever, like setting my goals aside. And that's how he felt, was like, well, don't set your goals aside for mine. And I'm like, well, I mean, this is the goals that we're headed for. And this was a new opportunity that I decided to go for. So it was a lot of work for a long period of time. I didn't drink for 5 months, and not saying that that's like a big thing, but like not drinking, not eating like we'd go out to eat.
It's a sacrifice.
For
Absolutely,
sure.
right?
And not just a sacrifice for me. It was a sacrifice for
For the
entire
kids.
fucking family.
I beat the
Those
shit
kids.
out of them for 5 months straight.
My kids were trying to bring me a beer. They were like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
No, right. I mean, but my kids were like, we're having chicken and rice for dinner. And I'm like,
Again?
if you guys want me to make you a box of macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
I will. But at the same time, I'm like, we have a salad every night and we have this every night. And then it got, bodybuilding is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because like even with him in fight camp, we'd do low carb or keto. You need to have one cheat meal a week.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Like, so it was a healthy lifestyle. Don't get me wrong. But then with bodybuilding, and Jason Laporte was my coach, and he was amazing, and he is amazing because he's like, you got this, you can do it, But
He was definitely the right guy to help her.
yeah, he sent me meal plans every week, uploaded new workouts, and he gave me more so confidence too in the gym, because like I'd pull up videos on YouTube. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what workout he sent me, but I'm gonna look it on YouTube. But I'm standing here in confidence because this is what my coach.
You have to
sent me.
eat constantly too, don't you?
So I was eating 6 meals a day.
Yeah.
Right.
See, we work with the guy. Well, actually, a couple of guys that were
Jason Bound. We've had him on the podcast.
not him, but that's why I said a couple. But go ahead.
He did the bodybuilding competition, and he's he the couple episodes we've had him on, I've never heard anything like that. I mean, I've heard of fight camp and I've heard of that shit. I'm like, well, you're killing yourself
Yeah.
to basically get here. And he's like, yeah, you work hard, and then that week you starve yourself to get to that
granted,
trim down.
I was what, 2 months out. So I hadn't gotten to like the no water for 48 hours and like I didn't
I
didn't
that
get to
shit
the
too.
extent of that, but yeah, so like you'd eat breakfast, then you have your snack, and then you have lunch, and then a snack, and then lunch or dinner, and then you'd start carb cycling. So the only carbs that you'd have, you wouldn't eat carbs for 2 days, and then the third day carb cycle. So you'd only have carbs pre-workout and post-workout. And then that was the leanest I've ever been in my life. I don't know if you guys seen that picture on Instagram or not.
Yes.
But that was a week of carb cycling that I just shredded, which I loved it and I appreciate the experience. I know that I have the dedication to do it. Is it something that I'll probably do again? I don't know.
Well, Mickey Hennessy.
He's like, yeah.
Eric's like, you're going to fucking do it. But
shout out to Mickey Hennessy. It's a guy that was working with us, and then he ended up in our crew. And from the get-go, he was just about to do a bodybuilding contest. And before, like the minute he stepped into our crew, he asked our boss, "Is there a way I can get 10 minutes every couple hours? I just need to pound this." And he was he had a lunchbox.
Yep.
It was a suitcase. And every 2 hours,
Wheels it out with wheels and shit.
like in the airport, like
yeah, for real.
lifted with the traco. It was like every 2 hours he had to. He was like, "Dude, I need 10 minutes." We're like, "Yeah, that's fine, dude." We're like all shoveling his shoes, fucking pounding chicken and rice.
I'm sorry. All of this shit you guys have just told us between January to now or whatever, you guys look fucking amazing.
Yeah, no shit.
Bar none.
That's why we're not mad you guys haven't invited us to go boating, because I'm not gonna take this to the lake.
I'm pretty much held together by duct tape and baling wire. So.
We just throw them around like a bell hay.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this, and you don't need to answer this if you don't want to. Here comes one of those.
Oh fuck! Here we go. Should we get the kid up?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Is it right in here, Kane?
And it's totally up to you.
He's passing out. That's why.
When this all happened with the fight, is there any kind of compensation through the fight organization you fought for?
So being a professional fighter, you get a purse. And I can tell you the money that I've spent between rebuilding my arm and rebuilding my face is far outweighed anything.
Absolutely, right?
Well, you're not doing it for the chick.
Right. And it's not about the money for me, and so they carry an insurance policy on you, but it's a secondary rider. So your primary insurance gets billed first and their insurance gets billed second.
Okay.
And part of the problem that we've had through this whole thing is then we added another insurance. So now we have 3. We have the fight insurance, her insurance, through
My
Blue
insurance
Cross Blue
didn't kick
Shield.
in.
Angel, those are white people problems.
Oh my bad. I'm just gonna go out there, step out for a minute.
Let me educate you,
And
son.
my insurance. So there's been like this long negotiation because the U is out of.
I'm still on the phone 3 times a week with the U and insurance.
Yeah, we're down to like 30 grand,
48.
48 grand.
Almost there. You're off for like 10 grand. It's good. It's all
I
right.
had a compound fracture right here on my arm, right? I mean, on the top of a mountain, snowboarding, busted out of my arm. I had no insurance when I did this. So I went down to the bottom. They're like, "Oh, your bone is sticking out of your arm. Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I'm like, I can't afford a fucking ambulance.
Right.
First off, I don't have insurance, let alone...
My dad's an appliance technician.
Yeah. My dad fixes microwaves. I'll be fine. So
Sign me right up.
we've heard this
Duct
story.
tape and baling wire.
We heard this story on the podcast with Rick, right? Yeah. So the guy I was with, he was like, "Man, I can't believe you fucking ruined our trip snowboarding tonight, man. We really have to go home." Bitch, my bone is sticking out of my arm. He's like, "All right, I'll take you to the fucking hospital. Can we stop and get a bean and cheese burrito from Taco Bell before we get there?" I'm like, "Whatever, just give me to the hospital." After all said and done, after 2 surgeries, staph infection where I had to have a stint.
Bad. That's bad.
Yeah, we're talking $100,000.
Yeah.
So once you get into that medical billing, there's no way out. And everybody's like, "Oh, file medical bankruptcy." It's not as easy as you fucking think.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will say, go to McKay because they have a McKay D fund that if you don't have health insurance, you can apply for their fund, whatever, because all these doctors donate, obviously, for tax write-offs. And so the McKay D fund has...
I can't stop looking at your fucking balloon.
I know, it's so bad, huh?
It's okay.
Does it look?
We'll burn that couch when we're done.
I'm trying not to lean back. I'm trying not to touch it.
It's a good thing I sanitized that before you guys got there.
I'm trying to get my DNA all over this son of a
Hey,
bitch.
also, you started your own t-shirt company, right?
Yes.
And how's that going?
Well, it was going really well until COVID.
Yeah.
And then that just
Fuck the COVID.
tanked
Hate it.
it.
But you guys have these masks available,
Yes.
which I say are the baddest masks out on the market right now.
So can I tell you how badass I feel with a mom in a shopping cart with fucking knuckle duster, brass knuckles on my face? Like, tell me to pull my mask over my nose.
I think it's fucking awesome that you've been able to tap into that group because
Yeah.
we've talked. We're like, well, what if we made some masks? You know, the Beehive logo. I'm like, well, we got to get a hold of them and figure out how the hell they did it because their masks are fucking top notch.
Yeah. Well,
we
so we
can-
were gonna
we
bring
can
you
get you
guys
some
some,
made.
and they were in the room, and I was like,
Well,
I
we'll
can't
get you guys seen in the next accident.
Well, at our wedding,
You're
I'll
coming
bring
to the
you.
wedding,
They were in
right?
the saddlebags. You know?
There's gonna be no bouquet. It's gonna be a bunch of masks.
Yeah, no, when you sign in, you book your name, they give you a mask. And,
Instead of getting the guard, it's gonna be like hand sanitizer's gonna pull out. Throw it to the guys.
I mean, the guys might need it. You never know. It's a real thing.
So next week, is this gonna be outside?
Yes.
Yeah. It's got to be
There's
outside.
gonna be some
'cause
cornhole. There's gonna be some tug of war ropes, and it's gonna be a good.
I'm guessing you guys are going to play, right?
I am.
I mean, I still have one good hand.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are right-handed, right?
I probably shouldn't do that. I'm all tug her up.
That's on the video. Just so you know.
That's good. Hi.
Thanks, Mom.
That's what they call
Strong hand. I got a strong hand.
I mean, I gotta have something.
Amen.
Will you go back to bodybuilding or not really? Or?
I don't know. I haven't decided.
Yeah,
Eric's
right.
like, yes, you will. Like, you know, you can do it.
I think
but
it's not that I know that she can do it. It's just like fighting, and she's been through 75% of it now.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things that you have to experience and you have to see through the end, win, lose, or draw, because you learn something about yourself.
Yeah.
Fighting wasn't ever about fighting. For me, it was about the gym and being in there and making those sacrifices and, just the discipline and all the other things that go into it are things that you don't necessarily learn any other way. You have to experience it. 'Cause we all know guys that are like, I train MMA. Okay.
I train UFC.
Yeah, I train UFC. Or I've had guys I've had guys tell me, well, I'm a fighter too. Are you?
Yeah.
How many fights you had? Well, I mean, I'm getting ready. Yeah, forever.
well, and that's like another thing too is that social media, right? Like I was super like posting all my like progress and you know what I mean, and then now I'm like, what do I have to post about?
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily like what do I have to post, like we have a good life and stuff, but I'm like,
And we're still in the gym
really,
5 days a week.
I was
and-
having women message me like, you're the reason why I went running this morning, or you're the reason why this, and da 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 da. And then once COVID happened, and I didn't quit necessarily, but I did. Like I could
got
have
forced to,
easily,
right?
but I easily could have done workouts at home.
But I think
and-
that's why you should though, because you were it wasn't something that you lost that. It basically got taken away from you, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
to an extent, but like I said, like if I really put into it, like I could have done workouts at home. I could have still continued. I could have but with kids and life and
Wedding.
work and wedding and like it happened and I was like, oh my gosh, like holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, well, I guess I could buy all this equipment to do it at home and do all, but it's like, so to me, it's kind of like, okay, once life gets back on track a little bit, maybe but it was rough. Like, not too rough, but it was one of those things like,
Well, it's a daily decision,
yeah.
right? It's just like getting ready for a fight. The daily decision is
Everyone at work's going to lunch and
do I go to the gym or do I go home with the kids?
Yeah.
Right.
And you do that every day. And I think hopefully Kane has, especially, over the years, he's seen me
He just woke up. What?
He's all, hey, brother.
It's time to take you.
especially over the years, I hope that he can draw on that experience and say, well, my dad made the hard decision instead of the
Well,
easy
Chambry
decision.
too. Chambry
Yeah,
went to the
Chambry.
gym, you know,
I mean,
there.
these kids did homework in the gym. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I'd go pick them up when it was my night to have them, and we'd go to the gym and they'd do their homework and I'd train. We did that for years. So I think it's well, I hope that for our kids that it shows them what perseverance will do. You know what I mean? Because
Well, and it
it's
has 'cause, like,
Dedication.
yeah, well, Brinley, our little girl, she's 10, and she thinks she's gonna be the Rock when she grows up.
I love it.
She's,
Nice.
She's awesome. She loves to listen to The Rock and what's his name, Tony Robbins.
yeah.
So
Oh,
she-
no shit.
Oh.
Wow.
One night I came downstairs and heard my boy listen to Joe Rogan. I said, "Turn it off." Nope. Well, but that's what Dad listens to in the truck. I'm
Say-
like, "Turn off Joe Rogan."
They turned it off and turned the other side of the Beehive on.
Dick and balls.
But so like my daughter comes up to me after because she was like, "Mom, I know you're pretty upset." She's like, "But look at this lady on YouTube," and I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "She was 50 and did her first bodybuilding competition."
Right.
I said, "How old do you think? Like you can? I'm gonna wait 20 years.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna wait 20 years?" She goes, "Well, I'm just saying, like you're not done."
Right.
Yeah.
And so for my daughter to be like, she's 50 and did her first one. Like you still have time. Because I did kind of go through a moment of like, well, now what? You
Yeah.
know? And it took a toll on our relationship, and not a toll, but like a transition period, because since we've been together, we've either been in fight camp or me training to compete. So it was like, okay, even now I'm like, oh sweet, he's coming home from work. Like, what are we gonna do with all our free time? Like, what do I do with my hands?
Right.
Like,
So, well, there's choices.
Options. We got options.
right hand
So,
strong.
well, speaking of that, so what are your guys? So done with fighting and done with bodybuilding for a minute, for right now. What's your? You guys have a big plan for the future, or close future? Or?
You already have a mansion. You already have a boat.
Yeah,
No more Harley.
But believe it or not, you're already married.
you probably have a
Till
Harley before the wedding.
tomorrow.
We're going to pick up the brand new Harley.
I'm gonna have Kane tape my left arm to the fucking. We're getting it. Shit. You know, I actually talked to Jason about maybe doing some bodybuilding now that I'm not trying to make weight all the time.
He already got turned on.
Wait a
Same thing
second.
happened to me too. I was like,
You had to adjust your dick too?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had to pull it off my leg. Oh wait, that's his.
She's all, knock it off.
It can touch.
mind its
Social
own.
distancing doesn't exist. It can still get me.
It's got a mind of its own. And I know I'll be back in the
Fuck,
gym.
it's got a social security number. Are you fucking kidding me?
He's got a membership in the hospital for all we know.
They own it at this point.
He's got his own motorcycle. Oh, that's why you're getting a sidecar.
Got a sidecar.
We'll just throw that anywhere. It'll be fine. We'll pick it up later. It just
Put
comes
a fucking
along.
helmet on it
It's got a helmet.
and a mask.
Yeah, a knuckle duster's mask. It's important for me to still be in the gym and working out and stuff like that. And I would like for her to go all the way through, even if she just did one competition, because she worked so hard. And then, essentially, we were 2 months out. She would have seen it through. I have no doubt. But
Yeah, absolutely.
then it was like, well, we're canceling. We're going to try to reschedule. And it's like fights now. So we've had some guys that have been signed up for fights, but they cancel
Yeah.
them because they're moving them out.
Right.
So, once the world gets back to normal, I'd like to just get back to the gym, help coach some kids, help her. It's fighting has been so selfish for me over the last few years that and all of last year, I fought 5 times in 12 months.
Right.
So, again, me being me, maybe I should have taken a couple of months off. I don't know, but it's just not my way. It's like this. It's like this,
Your medical
right?
bills. Oh no, it's fine. Keep going.
We're lowering that bill. I
I got Sugar Mama insurance now. Damn it.
nice.
So it's
when we first started dating, the sugar mama thing, but keep
that was fun.
I never knew I really would be your sugar mama.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
and here we are.
You're welcome.
You know, we'll keep expanding, growing. I want to do some, even despite this accident, I'd like to do some long motorcycle rides. And I you know, now it's time. We're going to try to go to the British Virgin Islands with Bo
For our honeymoon
in January. And I missed that trip because of fighting.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like I couldn't take I was always scheduled for something, so I couldn't take the time off to go enjoy anything. So now it's like, well, you know, it's still important for me to be in the gym. It's important for me to have Kane in the gym with us. You know, that's always a
he was training too. I've seen the
Yeah.
videos too. You gonna fight? You think or?
I don't know.
He's gotten busy with working on a career, and he's going
Yeah,
to
he's
school.
going to
so-
school and working full time on top of that. So.
Yeah, so he's got a lot on his plate too.
I mean,
but
I'm like, you don't have to fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
training
don't
to
have to
fight,
fight.
train to fight, because it's good
Yeah, for sure.
for you,
workout.
Sure,
Like,
it's
work
discipline
out.
and shit. Yeah.
Physically,
Yeah.
mentally,
Yeah.
everything.
Train all
right?
day. Yeah, train all day, but no. Mama
Here we
is
are.
out.
Yo, here we are like, yep, and then
Yep.
you and I are like,
Mama
take a
is
fucking
out.
nap.
I'm picking lid out of my belly button. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like, do you want to have a pizza after this? But no, I get you. So plans. So the honeymoon on January, and then after that, so hopefully the business. Picks up, huh?
I would like to grow the business. I would like, you know, I got a promotion at work.
Good.
I'm now the service director for the Layton stores, for the Katrubis Layton stores. So, you know, I've got some other
the same way.
goals, I guess, that I want to pursue. I like my job. I have a great job. I like my people I work with. I like doing all these things.
Nice.
And I can honestly say with as much that has happened to me at work over the last 6 months, if I was trying to get ready for a fight now, something would get missed. Bo used to say that all the time. He's like, I can't get ready for a fight. I got too much going on.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, something at work will get missed, and I can't
Or at home.
have that happen, or at home. So we're just kind of in a stasis right now. We're enjoying
Each
our
other.
life, each other.
kids.
I think our relationship's grown a lot
Mm-hmm.
too, you know, and I'll never forget waking up after I'd been pretty much sedated, and she's sitting in a chair next to the hospital bed. And this is back in January, not yesterday.
I mean, I was there too. man.
Yesterday.
Well, you guys won't fully grow until she can fart in front of you. Though. That's for sure. You
That's
have
gonna
to.
that's
No.
gonna take
I won't even go to the bathroom if he's home.
What?
Nope.
It's not healthy to hold it.
Yeah.
Healthy or
You're not gonna win a competition holding your shit.
Nope. It ain't happening.
When I met Amy, the first date that I went with her, we ended up we didn't do anything, but we ended up at her place. I ripped it.
Oh no.
She's like, oh, one of those. I'm like, 15,
So-
15 years later, or 16.
You're
I mean,
still
even
going home
with
and
15
ripping
years
it.
later, she's still rubbing it off her clothes.
She's like, I still can't shake this.
She's still Febrezing the fabric.
Oh yeah, she's got one. Right? We've talked about this.
Finally, my nose hairs are growing back.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, it's there. I knew there was going to be an expiration of this for me. And I mean, I'm 42,
Yeah.
you know, and I had a good run, and I started late.
And she's what, 18, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know,
she likes to remind me I will always have a hot younger wife.
I know. I was like, no matter, on the plus side, no matter how old you get, I'm still gonna be younger.
yeah.
I'll be completely
Young hot
honest with
water.
you. All the people that I've talked to, they're like, well, you know, you have a podcast, and we had Eric Iman on here, and 90% of the people that I know are MMA related. That's a huge part of my life. They all know who you are.
Yeah.
So to say that you have put a staple on Utah MMA community is a huge fucking deal.
Well, and
That's something
that definitely means something to me, and that's something I can, even beyond winning the belt and everything else, I can hang my hat on that. I did right. I went in, I honored my contracts, I took the fight seriously. I hope that I have been able to, because I didn't start fighting again till I was 34.
Right.
So I hope that somebody can look back and say, well, Iman did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if
Just
if
like
they
the
want to,
50-year-old lady on YouTube.
yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
And
you
if-
look like
if
one too.
I,
Just kidding.
I've got that same haircut.
I wave my hat back and forth. Wave my hat back and forth.
So hopefully, and if people need to train or something in the future, I'll always be a part, I think, of it. The gym still means a lot to me, and I feel like I've neglected it over the last few months a little bit, and that's something I've, like, especially over the last 2 weeks, I've had to kind of wrap my head around, and we just need to get
Balance.
I'm really trying to have a work life home balance more than
Right.
And like
I
I
ever
said,
have
the
before.
transition of like, because like he would go to the gym after work and I'd be home and I'd do dinner and do homework and dinner would be ready when he got home and all of that. But then now that he's home, I'm like, so
Cook
I'm
dinner,
gonna go
bitch.
Yeah.
Cook
What?
dinner, motherfucker. That's what you say to me.
I do not. I'm like, hey,
It's like,
I'm like,
time
hey,
at home,
Hey,
asshole.
no.
Cook dinner.
You
no,
never
I
said that.
No. Oh no.
No, she said that to
Oh
me.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no.
okay, I
He would
believe that one.
never. Fuck no. He
You
would
give a shit
never.
about your staples?
No.
Out of here.
That macaroni and
would-
cheese going.
He would never say the word bitch to me
I
ever.
don't use those words.
But no, I'm like, hey, you want to
ever,
go try on
but-
a Traeger? Like,
Yeah, she's
you want to
like-
go do this? I'm like, I don't know how to do this, like, with him. Like, cook dinner with him. But then it's, like, nice because, like, we do a salad every night. And I get the... go to
Well, what a
Smith's.
fucking cooking experience.
But I go to, like, Smith's and get, like, the nice, like, cheeses on clearance and shit, I'm like, ah! But then, yeah,
just go to Winco
like
and
that.
get the ones already mixed. You just open it like cereal.
But now it's nice because, like, he'll sit there at the kitchen counter and I'll cook while he's sitting there, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, this is
No,
nice.
that's not how it is. I get home,
Fuck
she throws meat at me and says, "Put it on the Traeger, motherfucker. It's time for you to cook dinner."
No, I don't.
I did this
You're
for
so
the last
full
year
of
and a
shit.
half. Do your shit in a pot.
But it was a transition for sure because I was like, oh, wait, he's going to be home in 10 minutes, not in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
It has been nice, and I it's helped our relationship, and there's a better balance now, and it's good. Things
Even like the
happen
other
at the
day-
time they're supposed to happen at.
Even the other day with the kids with the flat tires on their bikes and stuff, they came from work, you did the flat tires, and you're like, well, shit. Like, I would have had to wait for the weekend if I was in fight camp, So there's
Yeah,
little things like that
we worked on motorcycles, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. We've done some different things, and things that are important, but things that get neglected when all I'm concentrated on is winning the next fight.
Yep.
Right.
But
So before we get out of here, is there anything you want to promote? You want to promote maybe your
Just the knuckle dusters.
we did shut down the website, though.
we shut down the website because everything kind of came to a stop.
Yeah.
but we'll
It
we'll be
cost-
getting it back on.
and it has its own.
Facebook.
It has its own Facebook too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah,
we'll,
for sure.
We'll absolutely promote you guys. We
sure.
we love the apparel. We love
Yeah.
everything
Well-
you guys do. By
Yeah,
far.
I see
I like that shirt.
But you know what? I put this one on.
we talk about this.
I put this one on earlier. I'm like, yeah, this looks
And
good.
then
I'm
he
like,
sent you his morning
no,
Snapchat.
no. So,
Are you ready?
so we're so into this because we have either those or we have the other side of the Beehive or we have Highline Tattoo. I'm like, what are you gonna wear today? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna wear my neck. I'm like,
shit.
well, I better not wear that one then. So
Well, we were going to bring down you guys some masks and some other shit, but we just got
no, you
caught
guys.
up in time.
You know what? By far, our favorite couple
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
ever been on this podcast. Anything you guys do,
Probably
absolutely.
but the only couple.
I know, so that's what's weird, right? Because he's like, hey, they want us on the podcast. I'm like, they want you.
No,
we
we
love
love
both
both of you
Yeah,
guys.
that's what he was
For sure.
like.
Well, he's not fighting anymore. Fuck him.
Right? Like, who is
Well,
that
because
guy?
we talked.
You know, Honestly, we get way more views with you on here than we ever do with him.
In fact, next time it's gonna be just you, and we'll put him out of the fucking shot.
And you get to hear some of the other side of it, the things that you don't see.
Dude, that'd be so funny. Yo, that'd be so fucking
Yeah.
cool. Like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Eric, yeah, give me a beer, will you?
Well, and like that type of stuff, it's funny because he would never say. I mean, guys are different when they try to say, "Oh no, it was good." Like it was good. I lost the fight or whatever. But it's like, oh no, there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
than
So,
that.
and that's
absolutely.
the thing. I didn't want to go and say what everybody else is saying. That's why I'm like, I have like so much respect. I don't want to go and be like, almost there, but it doesn't matter what I was gonna say. I just say, you know what? I'll just, and even my wife was like, just go.
You know,
She went in there. She's all standing there like,
I cried, right?
yeah, he did cry.
I did cry. I had a little bit to drink that night.
yeah.
And when it happened, I was so built up. I
You were
was like,
emotionally involved 'cause we were
he's-
here for the
He's
podcast
gonna win the
prior.
belt. I know it. I know for a fact. And
I thought it was
you're
because-
my guy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it was heartbreaking. But
you
We
know,
also broke up that night, so that might have been a little bit of.
I had
We're done.
and going into that, I was like, it's my time.
Yeah.
You know, it's my time. But again, no matter how, I was absolutely prepared to
Yeah.
fight to the death over 5 rounds. Like I know I was, but there's some underlying things that I can't control. You know what I mean? And Bo always used to tell me, well, it's the physics of being a heavyweight, and he's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I have a partial fracture that's been there for years. Nobody knows, and I just take that wrong punch.
I
And
was
that's
gonna,
all
I was
it
gonna
takes.
ask you this when you were talking about that before I forget. Has your last opponent ever reached out to you? Or?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Okay, good.
He came up to me at a fight that we were doing a knuckle dusters booth at, and he was like, "Hey, I just really look up to you," and
that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, no,
and
he
I went back to Sammy and I was like, God, I wish he was a dick.
Yeah, he's like, it would just make it
Don't
so
you
much
fucking
easier.
hate that though?
He is such a respectful, good guy, and if he was a dick, I'd fight him right now. And she's like, "Thank God."
That's awesome, man. That's fucking awesome.
No, and I've never been a poor sport, and I always prided myself, win, lose, or draw. I was going to be a good, opponent in loss as I would be in a win.
Right.
And he was that way.
Yeah.
So I
He even reached out after the fight, a couple days after the fight, and said, "Hey, I just want to reach out. I heard that you're hurt. I want to make sure you're okay."
So super great. I hope Zach has a great career. Unfortunately, he just had a fight in LFA. He lost by decision.
Oh wow.
So and
He did.
I hope that he bounces back and gets back at it, because I think he's a real talent, and he's a young guy, and he's got a lot of years left and a lot of growth, and I wish him the best.
So I know we have asked you before, but this podcast is all about finding the gay inside of all of us.
it's there.
Give us your man crush one more time. I don't know if we asked you before.
I think we did.
You did, and we talked about The Rock.
But I've changed my mind.
We talked about
I want
The
to get
Rock.
to you, lady. But
Oh,
you
I
first.
got my girl crush already on my
Who is it?
Jack Jessica on Instagram.
Oh,
Jack Jessica?
yeah.
She pull her up.
I'm not going to do it in front of
Look,
I will,
look
though.
right now. Look
I'm
right now.
like, I mean, she's probably running all sorts of
which-
cycles, but I'm on it.
It's funny too, because she's married to Kieran, who was one of the U.S. Muay Thai coaches.
Okay.
And they own a gym.
Who's she
in-
married to?
Kieran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and they run and own a gym in Pleasanton. It's a CrossFit gym and a Muay Thai gym, and they've had some really good talent come out of there. So it's there's maybe even a little similarity.
She has her own photographer and stuff, though. That's not in the gym.
That bitch.
I mean, she has like some hearts and some emojis on some of her pictures.
Oh, nice.
But
She's my girl
I mean,
crush.
you
She's
look at
strong.
her and she's
strong.
and shredded, and and it's someone good to look up to, and it's some similarities in our relationship too.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, who do you got tonight? The main event.
Are you guys doing
Stipe.
anything? You guys?
We're gonna get the fights at home. We're trying to still.
yeah.
We gotta stop and buy another Fire Stick on the
No,
helmet.
I ordered one. It's probably sitting on the.
We have 16 Amazon packages on our door right now.
Jesus Christ.
One of
Literally,
them are
we'll send you a
mine.
Angel.
picture.
White people problem.
Oh, my bad. One of them is a bike.
Stipe, huh?
I think
huh?
Stipe. Stipe's a fighter after my own heart.
Yeah.
I guess he's just tough and rugged and just sees it through, and winners win. So, I as much as I respect Cormier and I think he has an awesome skill set, I like Stipe.
This is the GOAT. I mean,
How about you,
real.
Sexy?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Well, and it'd almost be sad too if Cormier wins and goes off into the sunset and never fights
That's it.
again.
That's it after this.
Yeah, that's what
me,
Yeah.
if I'm a betting man, I have to go Cormier.
Really?
He was winning that fight. Up to that point, to those body shots.
Oof, he ripped those left hooks.
Oh my
Ripped
God.
them left
My
hooks.
God. So
This is the part of the podcast where they get a boner and I'll just go.
if
I'm about to itch your nose with
if
it.
Cormier comes out and wrestles like he says he's going to,
Stipe's a good wrestler.
but
Not a Cormier
No,
wrestler.
right.
But he's got legitimate wrestling skills.
the only thing that makes me kind of change my mind is Daniel's been working with Mark Henry,
Yeah.
and
Mark Henry.
at that point you go, well, maybe he will stand and bang with him. But good fight. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be a good fight either way. I'd like Stipe to win, and not that I wish any ill on Cormier by
Right,
any chance.
right.
And, but I don't know. I think Stipe has the grit to
Yep.
see it through,
Yeah.
and I think that Cormier, no matter what you say, Cormier is going to be in there knowing this is it for him.
Oh, right.
So
Right.
does he need to prove anything at this point? Because he's one of the greatest,
Right.
right? Does he need to take that extra punishment? Does he need to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think Stipe wins. Not that I'd be sad if Cormier wins,
Right.
but I think there's a mental aspect to it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
Well, thank you so much for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Even you guys,
Anytime.
even you guys are hurting.
We'll come back after the wedding
is
and we'll
what it
recap that party.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
gonna
and we'll
be a
watch
good
the
time.
video and everything.
Oh yeah.
you know,
We got a videographer.
so we're gonna take sections of this podcast, right, and put it on your screen at the
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we're like, oh, we're already married. So what the fuck?
Why are we in your line?
I
What the
feel
hell?
like you lied to us.
Well, before we leave, thank you so much for coming, and we still look up to you. And those gloves will be in this studio until.
I was happy to see him, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm done fighting, but I'm not done. So
Oh yeah, there you go.
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
We-
Well, whatever you do, come out and talk to us about it,
absolutely,
and then keep getting us horny. You know what I mean?
that's what I do.
Exactly.
It's
You're
exactly
welcome.
what he does.
Anything else you want to say before we leave?
No, I'm good. I think.
Shout
All
out,
set.
Any shout outs?
shout out, Knuckle Dusters. You can
Knuckle
get the
Dusters.
website back up.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Jack, yes, Jessica.
Yeah,
You're gonna die when you look at her page. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, Sammy's on point.
He's gonna
She knows
say,
stuff.
I need to go to the bathroom for a minute. I'm like, all right, well, go ahead.
You're gonna be like,
Wear
that
your
guy at
mask.
work. I need every 2 hours.
wear your mask.
Anything else sexy thing?
I think I'm good, man. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thanks for
you guys.
having
Thank
us
you so much.
again.
Don't forget to follow us on the other side of the Beehive pod.
There you go.
Actually, I changed it. The other side of the Beehive on
Pod.
on Instagram.
Okay.
And YouTube.
Oh, so it's one?
Yeah.
What
And
the hell? I thought we were partners.
I'm trying to make. No, I'm trying to make it so it's one name, so we're not like that one guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Different
yeah,
names.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you gotta have it
The other side of the
same.
Beehive on Instagram and YouTube, and the other side of the Beehive podcast on Facebook. And give us a like, send us a message, and you guys good?
We're good.
Thanks
right.
again, you guys.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us. We love
I
coming.
appreciate
All right, see
it.
you guys. We'll see you on the other side of the Beehive.
Peace.